Hello, it's Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. Today is Wednesday, and that means it's the stitch of the week. So every Wednesday I either feature a particular crochet stitch or a crochet stitch pattern. So today we're going to be doing a crochet stitch pattern, and I'm going to show you a type of tapestry crochet. And to do this technique, I'm using an H hook or a 5mm hook. And you will need to use two different colors of yarn. So I just have basic worsted weight yarn number 4, and you can certainly use a variety of hook sizes and yarn types. I would just recommend not using fuzzy or furry yarn. So you can certainly use DK weight yarn, sport weight yarn, lace weight yarn, you know, a whole bunch of different types of yarn, and just match your hook size according to the yarn. Now keep in mind, you want this stitch to be kind of dense. So you wouldn't want it to be super loose. So that's why I'm using an H hook instead of an I or a J. So what we're going to do, and all of this stitch is single crochet, or you can use this technique with other stitches, but I really like it in single crochet. So I'm making my slip knot, and we're just going to do a simple pattern of squares. And we're going to do squares in 4. So let's chain 17. So this will be color A, this light blue. So we're going to chain 17 with the light blue. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I have 17 chains. So this is my setup row, and I'm going to kind of make like a border with this. So we're just going to work single crochet in this color all the way across to get us started. So I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from my hook. I'll work in the back bump today, and you can work in your chain however you want to, but I'm going to work in the back bump. So I'm working the second chain, working my single crochet, and just going all the way across. So I'm going to have a total of 16 single crochet, okay, so I have finished my first row here of single crochet. So we're going to make a decorative little swatch out of this. So our second row for this is going to be single crochet too, with color A. So you're going to think of your colors as color A, color B. So, or color 1, color 2, or MC for main color, but I'm calling it color A and B. So chain 1, turn my work, and single crochet right in that same stitch. And single crochet all the way across. And with this technique, you can actually make, you know, literally pictures out of your crochet, which is one of the reasons why I like it. You can use this technique in the round as well, and we're doing it in rows today. Now, if you are using it in the round, sometimes when you're working in the round, because you're not turning, your stitches tend to slant a little bit in single crochet. So my suggestion would be to, instead of doing just regular single crochet, split single crochet, or the waistcoat stitch, which I think the following stitch of the week after this one will be, I'll demonstrate that, but I do have a pattern that I can link that shows you the waistcoat stitch, or I also know it as split single crochet. That way, when working this stitch in the round, when you're doing that stitch, then your single crochets are nice and lined up like this instead of going like this. But when you're doing this tapestry technique in rows, you don't have to worry about your picture slanting. Now if you want it to slant, then, you know, by all means do your single crochet, regular single crochet in the round, but that's just one of the quirks with single crochet in the round when doing color work. Okay, so I'm at my last stitch here. Now we're going to get ready to do our tapestry technique. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And my first 4 stitches are going to be with color A. So we're row 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, before I need to finish off this stitch, I'm going to finish it off with my color B here of this darker pink color. So this is color B. So I just pop that on there and I finish off this stitch. Now I'm ready to go for color B. And with this technique, it's reversible, so that's one of the reasons why I do like it, even though single crochet is not one of my favorite stitches, but it's great for this technique. Okay, so now my next 4 stitches are going to be color B. And so what you're going to do is you are going to literally sandwich this color A in between your stitch. I might even do a little bit of the tail too, but I don't want it to make my stitch too bulky. So I don't know if that sandwiching is making sense, but you're literally stitching it inside, if that makes better sense. So I'm inserting my hook in there, and I have my color A right in there. Here's my color B. I'm going to pull up my loop, and then I'm going to finish off the stitch, and my color A, it's right there, is sandwiched in there. And there we go. And it's going to continue to be sandwiched in all the way for how long I'm working color B. I'll make 4 stitches of color B. So here we go. See, there is color A. Now you just need to watch your tension, so don't pull on this too hard. Just kind of keep it relaxed, but don't also be too relaxed either. Now with this technique, you'll get very slight bleed through. So what I mean is you might see a little bit of color A peeking through, like it's not completely opaque, but it's also not completely transparent either, if that makes sense. So I don't think I'm gonna crochet around that tail anymore, and I would just weave that in. So I'm going to do one more stitch with color B. Now I'm going to get ready for color A again. So I'm going to finish off stitch number 4 with color A, and then do the same thing. Now see, that's a little bit loose. I just give that a gentle tug just so that it matches the rest of the stitches. Now I'm going to single crochet this guy in there. Now if you did want it completely opaque with no bleed through, then you could carry your colors. That's another technique where you just carry it across and you would have floats. I guess that's what they're called, floats, but this, you're literally stitching around the floats. So that technique also works fine. I do have a pattern using the waistcoat stitch, and I've used floats with that one. It just depends on what you're making. When you're using floats, it's better if you're working in the round, or if you're making a sweater and no one's going to wear their sweater inside out, so the floats don't matter. But if this was like a blanket, sometimes this is nice, because both sides will look nice. It's reversible, or a scarf. And I will have some patterns coming out using this technique soon. All right, so let's go back. Color A, we're going to sandwich color B in there. So you can see color B. I'm pulling up the loop. There's color B, it's wrapped in there. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug. And so now you can see color B is in there. So we're going to work 4 stitches and just stitching right around, sandwiching color B in there. And it might seem really tedious. Now, of course, it's single crochet, the stitches are shorter, but it actually, it doesn't take that much extra time. So we're just doing everything in 4s. So I am going to finish this off with color B to get ready to go. Give that just a slight little tug so that my tension is even. And then I'm going to single crochet around color A. So that is my row 3. So now we'll get ready to work row 4. So I'm going to chain one and turn. Now I'm going to continue. Now see, this is good that you can see this here. So this is the other side. So you can see there's a little bit of bleed through there, but not too terrible. Now we have a little bit of a loop here. So that's one of the things you'll need to watch when I say tension. So I haven't stitched with this yet, so it's real easy to fix that. I just give it a pull and that fixes that. So you just might want to be mindful of that, you know, especially if you were making a blanket, you know, just check to make sure you don't have, because I made a scarf using this, so I had to take apart some rows because I wasn't watching my tension as closely as I should, and I did have a little bit of a loop, and I just had to, you know, give it a little bit of a tug and fix that, and it was a really easy fix. All right, so we're going to continue with row 4. Oops, okay, we're all twisted up. Let's not be twisted up. It's because I'm chaining. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, row 4, chain 1, turn. Oh, okay. So I'm going to work 4 rows with this pattern. So 4 rows of color B here. We'll make like a checkerboard, but I still need to carry color A. So I'm going to single crochet right in the same stitch. And so I'm just bringing color A in there, and I'm just going to single crochet right around them, right around color A, just like we did. Now it'll show a hair on there, but it doesn't look bad, I don't think. And I'm going to continue to just single crochet around color A for my 4 stitches. So now I'm going to finish off the stitch with color A, and now I'm going to single crochet with color A and sandwich in color. And see, it got a little bunchy in there. I don't know if you saw, so I just gave it a little bit of a tug. But you know, you don't want to pull too hard because then that's going to create tension, and then you might see like the pull, you know, you want it to be nice and flexible and just, you know, keep the tension even. So it kind of takes a little bit of practice getting that happy medium, but it really isn't too difficult. So now I've switched to color B, and I'm going to single crochet around color A. See, I think it's a little bunchy there, just giving it a little bit of a tug. And now I'm going to finish off with color A, and we're going to single crochet around color B. Now I do think you could use more than just 2 colors if you wanted to. You know, if you wanted to introduce, depending, it just depends on the pattern, you know, the picture that you want to create. It's probably easiest to just use 2 colors, but you know, you can certainly get very creative and introduce other colors as well. Okay, so there is row 4. So now row 5, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And now I'm going to work 4 rows of the same color before we switch for our checkerboard. So now I have to bring up color B here and just single crochet in that guy. So I chained 1 and turned. So you can see it goes up a little bit, but if I was making a blanket out of this particular design, you know, you could certainly crochet a border and kind of help hide that or add some fringe. I mean, personally by itself, I really don't think it looks bad, but you know, everybody has their own preference of how they like things to look. So just stitching around color B. Now I'm switching to color B, giving color A a little bit of a tug, and now I'm single crocheting around color A. So far it's a very simple technique here. So I'm going to continue across. I'm going to work one row exactly what we've been doing, and then we will switch it up with our little checkerboard design here. So I'm going to do another row and then I will meet you back. Okay, so I have finished up row 6. So as you can see, there's a little bit of bleed through, but really it's not that noticeable at all. And it's, you know, definitely I would say more opaque than transparent. All right, so now we want to switch this up. So my first stitch on my next row, I want it to be color B. So to finish off, instead of finishing off color A that we've been doing, I'm now going to finish off with color B and I'll be ready to go. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work. Now I still need to bring up color A and stitch that in there like we've been doing, but we're now working with color B for row 7. So I'm going to single crochet in my same stitch. Just make sure my color A is sandwiched in there. Single crocheting in that same stitch, and now I can just continue with color B, stitching right around color A. Now I'm ready to switch to color A and single crochet in color A, sandwiching in color B. Hoping I'm getting my colors right. Can get a wee bit tangled up, but I mean it's not too bad. Alright, so now I'm switching to color B. Okay, so now I'm ready to switch back to color A and just single crocheting around color B. So now you can see how we've switched things up a little bit there. So I'm going to continue with 3 more rows, and then I'll work 2 rows of just color A, and you won't have to sandwich in color B if you're working 1 row of, you know, entirely, your last 2 rows entirely of color A, then, you know, I wouldn't worry about single crocheting in your color B. So I'm going to finish that up and I will meet you back. Okay, so I have finished up my little swatch here. So my last 2 rows were just regular single crochet, and when I finished up row 10 here, I, you know, then switched to color A, and then I just crocheted color A across, and here is color B just hanging out. And then of course, you know, if I was finishing this off, you know, I'd cut my yarn, weave in my ends, just have that little end to weave in, and it should be pretty easy to hide in there. So here is the one side, and then here is the other, so completely reversible. And as I said, you know, there is a little bit of bleed through, but I mean, hardly noticeable if you have this far away. You know, it looks pretty opaque there. So I hope you enjoyed this technique, and also, you know, you can see it up the side, and I really don't think that looks terrible. You know, of course, if you were like making a blanket out of this design or a scarf, you know, you could add a border or however you wanted, or you could even do a border of just, you know, the color A here, you know, couple stitches there, couple stitches on the other side, and then you wouldn't even see that at all. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and I thank you so much for watching.